Hawker127, Gwendolyn Adamsbone, Azura Akamore, Canuck, Emma, Nobody at All, Agatha, Ragecat 888, Amy Wires, The Octahat, Evelyn Puppy, D-Zip, Rosebound, Nunberg, Fish Salad, Antari Akiyama, Sarha Smith, William Hale, Valkyr Tenno, Rylanor, the fan of a truly iconic Foxo, Galahad, Salgor Agaris, Marisa Crucitasome, Ben for the Potato, Genetic Zero, ZT Mackin, Songbird, Kyra, Void Dweller, Teacher 5, Morning Owlet, Elster's Shiny Things, Tarsies, Jessica, Amy Olgers, Tiny Portal, Chloe, Fear the Space Witch, Ellipses, CM Fireflies, Sungai, Ghost 48, Joanna, Indigo, Kai, Danny Babani, TTS TGA, Readable Vaporeon, Eden, Mick Shepherd, Captain Aardvark 986, Lily Adams, Hazel, Archibald, Blue Goo, Alice, Kolik 92, Prophecy Fulfilled, DFA Plays, Robot Waifu, and Bloodmoth. Thank you so very much. If you too would like your name read at the beginning of streams, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. Thank you so very much. And now? Hi, I'm here. Hello. Hi. Something's up. Typically, you would be showing up about this time. You should have been showing up throughout the entirety of all of this. So where did you go, chat? Where did you go? Where did you go? You're not under there. I don't know where you went off to. Wait. Oh. There you are. Hi. There you are. Hi. It is so very good to see you. Lowering the volume on that because it seems as though my typical speech is getting a little bit drowned out by the music. Just a little. I'll bump up my microphones a tad as well. -8 decibels seems to be a good point. Oh, you're you're hiding, says Emma? You have no need to hide. Hello, Arya. Welcome. Arya does exist. Arya is also the same name as the alliterative Fae. Oh gosh, that laugh? What? This laugh? That laugh? Also, if it sounds like I'm a little bit sniffly, it's because I'm a little bit sniffly. I've just been quite sniffly over the past couple of days. It's probably from all the dust. Because I recently had to do something that I never want to do again, and that is changing the liquid cooler on my PC. Yeah, that happened. It was making a terrible buzzing sound, and I had to buckle down, open up my PC, and undergo the terrible process of ripping the poor old thing out, and then you know, struggling and wrestling a new one in, and accidentally getting thermal paste on the top of my GPU. It was not a fun day for anyone involved. But thankfully, my PC is still alive, and it seems to be running at full capacity. Above average girl Snacky says Villain Laugh does things to me. Well, you've made absolutely no secret that you adore villainous ladies. Jamdrop says I don't want to get liquid cooling. Yeah, I completely understand. Personally, it was a matter of the liquid cooler that I had was pre-installed. It was put there by the previous owner of the machine, and when I replaced it, I figured, well, what the heck, I'm gonna try replacing it with something similar. There is one thing that I do notice, and that there is like slightly more heat coming off of the PC, but the liquid cooler only had like one fan as opposed to the dual fan setup the last one had. Emma says, I had a thought, but I forgot it. Oh, poor dear. Boop. But yeah, it was very, very stressful, and I will be entirely honest, I was honest to goodness terrified that I would break my PC. There was an actual tangible concern on my part that I would wreck this machine, my baby. Because most of my life is on this thing now. It is how I'm able to do my work. And if it ever breaks, I'm kind of out of a job. Violet says, please let me use my brain. Oh, poor dear. Just letting the good girls in chat know that they are so very good. Hello. Why, hello there, Cutiefox. It has been, oh boy, months since I've seen any of your streams. But I was wondering about how you were doing today, since you're having a relaxing time talking to us. Yes, it's been up, it's been down, mostly down, because I deal with a bunch of mental issues, such as extreme amounts of anxiety and depression that leave me basically holing up inside most of the time. I hardly leave my apartment these days. The outside world's kind of scary, and I don't want to have to, like, fight and justify my existence to people who would much rather, like, do awful things. Does that answer your question above average, girl Snacky? Also, just the fact that my model has this capability of, like, twitching the mouth left and right, and that I more often than not just don't do that, because more often than not, I'm just grinning my face off. Indeed, Jam Job. I can very easily go into my high-pitched voice with all of my silly little antics and just generally being all high-pitched and very high energy, and then I can just bring it lower here and sound like the villain that is about to ruin everyone's day. Or just make it interesting. Who knows? Above average, Rosnecki says, what sound do foxes make when they're angry? I would assume that it would be hissing / screaming. But foxes scream a lot. And they have a unique style of laugh called geckering. Yep, it's unique to foxes. Nettie says, well, if it makes you feel any better, I am actually autistic, so I have a problem, but it's not bad. Well, you are a person in my chat. You are here. And I'm glad that you're here. Does that answer any questions? We're honored that you're here. Above average girl Snarky says, the cat girl economy is low. And then makes a whole bunch of cat sounds. Does this mean that you like being called a good little kitty? Such a good little kitty you are. Aw, poor dear. Of course, leading into my microphones like that has a bit of a drawback in that my mouth stops moving and one of my eyes just constantly winks. Violet turns into Puddle. Aw, adorable. Absolutely adorable. Nick says I'm drinking eggnog while being a chaos gremlin, and you said that a bit ago, but gosh, now I want eggnog. We had eggnog a little bit ago. We had like a very, very slim carton of it, and I practically chugged the entire thing. It's a wonder that my big sister puts up with me. Your voice is still way quieter than it should be, by the way. Okay. This is at maximum volume. I take it that this is adequate? Yeah, I dare say that that's adequate. However, I will say that it does have the slight drawback of when I get really, really close to one of my microphones. No, I don't think it's entirely a drawback. Oh, so very cute. You say it's a drawback. Here in the chat we call that oh. Violet says, my brain is working today. Here's your voice. Oh, dang it. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. Meti says, anyways, did you eat anything during or before your conversation stream in these past, minutes? Because I'm curious what you ate since I am having coffee and chocolate bread while talking to you. Well, I finished off my coffee before the stream began, and I have a bottle of water here on standby to help me, keep my voice hydrated, but I also know that it's, been a little bit out of practice of late. You could probably listen to some of the streams from a month or two ago, and they definitely have in my opinion, a better quality sounding voice to them, as opposed to right now, where my nose just keeps getting congested. This makes me miserable. Yeah, just absolutely miserable. Just the whole... Tea's a good cure. It's not what I would call a cure-all, but it does help soothe the voice. It definitely is a lot more noticeable when I drop into a slightly lower register, because then suddenly the growliness threatens to break through, and it just kind of sounds like I have a bit more of a smoker's voice. Despite the fact that I don't smoke. It's true, I don't. But it does sound like I do. Honestly, I'm not really partial to chamomile. I mean, it is a good tea, I will warrant that, but I'm not partial to it. I am partial, however, to my slippery elm tea, with a hint of licorice root. That or a nice cup of green tea, or the darkest tea that you can find. Also, that might be my big sister. Welcome home! Hi! Oh, it's quite alright. Thank you so very much. It's very kind of you. Would you like me to slip that 20 sometime after the stream's done? Gosh. Also, I definitely changed some of the levels on the microphone, so you'll definitely show up a lot easier now. Yep. Everyone say hi to Akira.
Hey. Foxo EP.
Well, that makes the two of us. But I got a job to do. And she is tickling the back of my skull. If you're gonna scritch me, scritch harder. Like really hard. Now she's petting me. That feels nice. Especially after the tickles earlier. Hey! Stop it! Mete says, oh, your voice is fine since I don't like mine, since it's high even though I'm not a child anymore. My deepest apologies. Didn't know you had a sister, but hi. She's my adoptive sister. We adopted each other, and now we're kind of closer than blood. Well, I mean, blood doesn't really mean that much to me. I mean, after everything that's happened, it kinda has disillusioned me to blood ties. Huh? Even though I chugged all the eggnog?
They're called sales. That means I can get more. Especially right around back of the holidays. Of course, when I get some before that point, right?
Huh?
When I get some before that point. Oh, I also got some more stuffing for the turkey.
Oh, that actually sounds really, really lovely. Also, I ran the dishwasher. I didn't know if you had already run it or not.
Oh, no. You didn't put the pods in there, do you?
The what?
The pods? Cause
No, I basically just took whatever was already in there.
Okay.
And then I just hit run.
Yeah, sorry. I hijacked it for, like, chore shit. Sorry, chore stuff.
It's okay, you can swear on this channel. We don't do that whole silly self-censoring bit, especially with stuff like sewer slide and stuff like that. I'm going to be 100% honest about that until they threaten my channel at gunpoint.
Okay. Boop.
That is boot point.
Boop. Boop. What? They said to boop. Boop, 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 boop.
Goodbye, Violet. Stay safe. Excuse me. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, this one is a very, very hard-working foxo right here.
I like to think so.
Oh, I know so. I've seen this person just absolutely go absolutely wild doing her work, and she's really, really diligent.
I try to be.
As a matter of fact, most of my job has basically been to get this one to relax. Yes, I'm your resident slothful fox, which is rather ironic depiction, seeing as foxes are often depicted as extremely high energy. Doesn't mean that I can't be. It just means that more often than not I like to snooze.
Well, I mean, foxes can be eepy.
Oh yes, incredibly so.
I'll do that a little while later, because I'm just going over the couple units.
Oh yeah, you're going over to talk to your friend.
That'll be probably back soonish. And once I do, I'll
Yes, please. Okay, I might make myself a sandwich in my intermission, but that's not for another hour yet.
And I got like another 4 pounds of sugar.
Thank you.
This thing needs, this gal needs a whole lot of sugar.
Well, not all at once, hopefully.
But she doesn't super good.
I just do the best I can. Oi.
Thumbs up if you agree.
What?
Thumbs up in the chat if you agree with these two.
That's not fair.
I can take you, that's not good.
That is certainly not fair. Also, it just sounds like there's battle music right now, so... Well, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about this.
happy smile. What's a smile? Aww. So adorable.
That is...
So cute. Look at you.
Hey, don't tickle! No tickles!
Okay. See, you didn't like it.
Hey, Ty Marshall. It's very good to see you again.
Hi. I'm making the fox omelet.
Also, on my current playlist, there's a song that's playing that I really, really like listening to in my off time. It's actually one that helped set up the theme of what I wanted my playlist to be like. It is basically just a bunch of Halloween stuff, the spooky stuff, that is more lighthearted in some ways, but also really creepy in others.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Huh? Oh, happy belated birthday. Okay, stay safe. Because the creamer is here now I'm wondering if I should make myself another cup of coffee. Because I only had the one today. That, and I might need something to help kill the appetite, because before this I had a slice of bread. And maybe like a Pop-Tart or two. And that is about the extent of my nutrition today. Well, I simply do the best I can. Winter says, hello cute chat, welcome Winter. It's very good to see you. Emma says, oh dear no, it's important. The new Supergirl trailer? I've not. Have you seen Pluribus? Pluribus is one of my favorite, like, concepts for a show. And it really does feel like the creator just walked into my apartment while I lay sleeping, cracked open my skull and took a look inside, and then sealed everything up and ran away with the idea. I mean, seriously, a hive mind, an actual hive mind sci-fi show, and it's really, really cool. Basically, it is quite literally just the concept that I had for the Yandere alien overtaking human society, but less body horror. Eat foods? Maybe in a bit. I'm still wondering what to eat. If I should make myself a sandwich, if I should cook up some of those cheap burritos that I got in the freezer. I hesitate to make ramen. Well, I mean, I probably could make ramen during an intermission. Shouldn't take that long. Maybe like 20 minutes at the maximum. I love Star Wars. I like all of it. There's only one gripe that I could really have, especially like with the new stuff, and that is depicting lightsabers the way that they are. I mean, you go back to the prequels and you see Jedi Masters moving these things really, really quickly, but in the later films, it's like they've gained some weight or gravity, and you don't swing them as quickly as you used to. That's like my only gripe. Nothing wrong with a good heavy swing with a saber. It's just, I would like it to have some good narrative weight too. Like imagine a quick, high-speed duel, and then more towards the end as they're both getting tired out, their strikes become a lot less precise and, you know, they have a little less force to them as well. Until one catches a second wind, reels back, and just slams their saber down with all of their remaining force. I don't know, I'm just a little bit of a nerd. Congratulations, Time Marshal. Nick says, no, Winter, I'm a cat. Cat equals chaos. So cat is chaos. Does that mean that every single chaotic event is a cat? Food for thought. But do your thoughts often revolve around food? Nick says, I tune back into swords. Let's be honest, swords are great. You've heard of sword lesbians. Now, get ready for lightsaber lesbians. Lesbians whose blades are blue and red, respectively, or green and red, respectively. Where the designs of the hilts are both contradictory and yet complementary. Yeah, the first proto-saber has actually been constructed already. Greetings, Rexas. It had been aeons, but I finally can join a stream. Glad I tuned in at the talk of sword fights. Also, that sound that you just heard there, that was me cracking my knuckles. What can I say? It's a habit of mine. Sometimes I'll be walking down the street, just, you know, as one does, and then I will just casually crack my knuckles like I'm some sort of mercenary bruiser about to give some poor sap a run for his money. I honest to goodness don't know what song this is, Jamdrop. Most of this is from Dova Syndrome. You can look in the description down below. Vampire lesbians? Oh, I love vampire lesbians. As if all of the written content on my channel is anything to go by. I would love to know, Time Marshal. Emma says, ooh, lightsaber lesbians, nice, alliterative even. Lightsaber lesbians looking longingly and lovingly at one another. Carrie Fisher? Maybe I should have asked when you got it signed. Nathan says, or purple, if Samuel Jackson asks nicely. The thing about it is for lightsaber lesbians, I imagine it as being either blue or red, or green or red. because I like the idea of a more dark side oriented girl and a more light side oriented girl getting together. Or perhaps I should say I'm reconsidering rekindling the Yandere Sith Lord. Yeah, because the last time I did a Sith Lord, I kind of, like, went a little bit heavy-handed with what the, Sith Lord was actually saying. And I wasn't actually making it more sinister. I was making it seem like it's, like, just matter of fact that the Jedi Order just lies about this stuff, instead of making it a little bit more interesting in that, oh, is she telling the truth about this, or is she lying about this? Time Marshall says got it last week, but it was signed years ago, and the funny thing is, she signed the Family Guy Star Wars DVD cover. A, that's hilarious. B, I hate Family Guy. I mean, granted, sometimes there are clips that surface that I think are absolutely hilarious. However, it's in that sort of passing hilarity that someone slipping on a banana peel is. Sure, you might let out a little involuntary chuckle, but then you'll go over and make sure that the poor sod is okay. Welcome, Simeonor. Welcome, welcome. Matisse says, how about gray? Like in the middle as purple, you know? Like for lightsaber colors? I suppose it might be interesting. But, I don't know. Greetings to you, Raxus. Or may I call you Rax? Welcome, Antari Akiyama. Welcome, welcome. Emma says, yeah, as a whole, Family Guy's like, South Park's growing on me lately, though. Well, to each their own. Personally, I don't like South Park either. I never quite got it. I'm glad that they're anti-establishment, and I'm glad that they basically do their own thing and they don't care who they piss off. You admire that. In that regard, they're honest about what they are. I personally just don't care for it. It happened some time ago, but someone actually ran one of my earlier audios through an AI voice generator of Eric Cartman. And I gotta say, Eric Cartman trying to use one of my scripts made me feel unsettled and disgusted. And it only further put space between me and the show. Matisse says, is Family Guy just cringe to you? Since I can see it because the show's been airing on TV for a long time. Well, to put it bluntly, Matisse, yeah, to me, it's just cringe. Family Guy's cringe. Emma says, I mean, mostly just because certain political figures have been throwing fits about South Park. Honest to goodness, yeah, that's one of the things that I respect about them, is the fact that they are unabashedly pissing some people off. Yeah, it's like, if that's what they seek to do, and it seems like that's what they are seeking to do, and they're being open and honest and upfront about that, then sure, go ahead. And honestly, the fact that they are making fun of Trump and JD Vance, that to me is perhaps one of the funniest bits of the show so far. But again, the majority of it, I don't care for. Winter says apparently the creator of Family Guy has been quoted saying he's trying to make the show worse in hopes it gets cancelled so he can start working on other projects. I've heard that about South Park as well. That they're trying to make it as bad as possible so that they finally get cancelled. Apparently this year, the anime studio responsible for making Evangelion and other animes, just shut down this year. They filed for bankruptcy last year, but it seems that they are shutting down this year. And at first I was like, well, that's really, really sad. And then I thought to myself, wait, all things have their time, and eventually, even I must pass into the ether. The only question is whether or not I'll go quietly, or if my content will just have a slow degradation into getting worse and worse as I run out of ideas, and don't pivot to any other new ones. And it's like, all things have an ending. And you can mourn a little bit of that loss, but I think the important part is to move on. This isn't to say that I think that I'm fading right now and that this is my last stream ever. Heavens no. I'm not going anywhere that quickly. Yeah, I plan on sticking around for at least, I'll be generous and say 5 more years. I give this channel about 5 more years. I would love for it to go longer, and maybe in 5 years' time, I will have found more of a wind to keep going. Because personally, I love creating. I really, really love creating, and I never want to stop. But I also recognize that YouTube has been, increasingly hostile to a bunch of smaller creators as of late. So I don't really know how long it could keep going as, like, a profitable enterprise. So who knows, I might just be doing, like, other things on other platforms in 5 years. "100 years of Foxo? Oh, please. Please don't make me do 100 years. I will not sound the same in 100 years. YouTube's a YouTube. If there's one thing that I'll credit Vance with in this regard, is that he can take the piss out of himself. Like, he can make fun of himself, and he can be okay with it, in small doses. I feel that long-term poking and prodding at his ego would definitely make him explode in one way or another. He cannot tolerate being made fun of for long stretches of time. That is my prediction. I might be wrong. Trump absolutely cannot handle. His skin is negative thickness. You will so much as breathe on him wrong, and he doesn't like you. Winter says 10,000 years of Foxo curse her with immortality. No, not immortality, please. Oh, no. Please, don't misunderstand. I don't want to be anywhere near the fucker. I'll enjoy the time every step of the way. Me too. Me too. I plan on doing this for as long as I'm able. Because I really, really enjoy calling people good girl on the internet. I mean, I can sit here and I can just say, good girl. Good girl. Such a good girl. My good girl. Had a girl. Like that one video I did, I think about a year or 2 years ago. I love doing that. That's fun. In my view, that is fun. It can be a fun game. Now, I'm going to pivot off of politics entirely for the time being, because I don't want to make this a political stream, you know, any more than it already has been. I also know that my very existence has become political, whether I like it or not. But before I pivot off of the subject entirely, I just want to say, I hate Trump and his bullshit regime. It is absolutely the worst year ever. And the next 3 years under him are going to be absolutely horrible. That's if he will even step down as president, or if the United States just becomes a monarchy. A managed democracy, as it were. Yeah, we make fun of it, we make the Helldivers jokes, but it is still, it's gonna be a horrible time. So why don't we just stick together for the time being, and try to keep our spirits high, and try to keep our optimism bright, because the very... What our opposition wants us to do is to give up, and to succumb to despair. I'm not gonna do that. Fuck that. I'm going to continue to be a opinionated foxo on the internet. Violet says, people say, hear me out, Lady Domatresse. That's not a hear me out, that's a hold me back. Oh yes, quite. Well, well, so we finally meet. It's almost been an hour since you've been streaming? Yes, I typically stream from 2 to 3 hours, yes. Emma says, with the lemons. Oh, I cut the first part. Are you doing the, J.K. Simmons lemon rant? I can try to do a feminine version of that. Would that be cool with you guys? Do a feminine version of the speech. Hydrating first. Always stay hydrated. Need to draw a water bottle and give it to my avatar. You know, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad, I don't want your damn lemons. What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see Life's manager. Make Life rue the day it thought it could give Nico Cleric lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the lady that's gonna burn your house down with the lemons. I'm gonna get my engineers to make combustible lemons that burn your house down. My favorite parts of, like, the, inflection, it's just the best parts of the inflection on that is, what am I supposed to do with these? I want your damn lemons, and especially with the lemons. Just emphasizing those parts helps make you feel more unhinged. Then and it's just like a really, really fun sort of vocal... What's the word I'm looking for here? It's a vocal thing. It's something that you repeat and it feels nice. And it's just simply a phrase, I want your damn lemons. It just makes you smile. Matisse says, I just said that since we've been talking for an hour, and I haven't realized that until I checked, which I don't mind since I like talking to you. I like talking with you as well. I like chattering. If you hadn't noticed, I really like chattering. As a matter of fact, I hardly stop. MSS wanted to do the GLaDOS interjections too, but I forgot him. Yeah, take the lemons! Yeah! Yeah! That crazy man downstairs was right about one thing. Let's not take these lemons. Ah, bird, bird, kill it! It's evil! It flew off. Good. For him. Alright, back to thinking. Yeah, burning people. He says what we're all thinking. Say, you're really good at murder. Could you, ow, murder this bird for me? Ow. Ow. No, wait, come back. We'll call it even. No hard feelings. Violet says, my friend dressed up as Lady Dolmachas, and I froze. A valid response, considering you are suddenly in the presence of a lady. Like, oh my gosh. Being in the presence of someone like Lady Dolmachas. Woof. Someone of elegance, beauty, and grace. That makes you freeze up. Betty says, also, Cutiefox, why did you dress up for your costume for Halloween months ago, since I'm curious? Because I dressed myself in a simple suit and then pretended that I was either in the Mafia or Yakuza. A very interesting costume. Oh, I'll give you that. I dressed up as I typically do. As a witch. Yes, if you see me walking down the street, more often than not, I'm wearing a witch's hat. That's probably one of the big tells that it's me. However, I don't suggest stopping random people in the street to talk to them, especially if they're wearing witches' hats. Especially under the assumption that it is me. A, it would be a little bit awkward. I wouldn't know that you're coming, first and foremost. And it would be, well, a little bit frightening. Witches' hats are really, really cool. Mine is a rather thick felt number, and it's one of my comfort objects, one of my comfort pieces of clothing that I like to put on my head and sometimes hide my face with. That, and I've got a big coat. It is a brown pinstriped coat that has really, really long coattails, and it's swishy. It's a swishy coat. Nemesis? Yeah, fair, but witch hats are cool. I aspire to have one of my own someday. Like that. Oh! Nati says, do you wear your witch's outfit often that it becomes your casual wear, or is that a no? Yes, it becomes my casual wear. I go out wearing my dress and my witch's hat and my coat, and if I'm feeling it, I also bring my witch's staff. Some people will mistake it as being a wizard's staff, and, well, they wouldn't be entirely wrong. I'm kind of a blend between being a witch and a wizard. You know, just a slight blend of the two. It's just that, because of the connotations from modern culture, wizards and witches become sort of like magic genders, and me, I tend to draw myself towards the more feminine of the genders. So I am more drawn to being a witch than a wizard. It is a social thing. It is an extremely social thing, which is why I will insist, despite looking like a wizard, I am a witch. There is a difference, and the difference is, look into my beady eyes and try to disagree with me. Nemesis like yours, I guess. Aw, so cute. Emma says witches are magic doctors, wizards are magic researchers. Well, I would say that witches are magical alchemists. And yes, wizards are magic researchers. They're in the quote-unquote high academia. And as a matter of fact, most of the witches that I depict in my Witch's Apprentice series, they are definitely more along the wizardry. It falls more along wizardry. They use the powers of the ethereal, of the arcane, and they don't necessarily use it for healing. They use it for offensive magic. Especially when you take Caligari into consideration. She is a person who is considered a witch cop. She is a magical cop. And her entire shtick is that when she's, like, not filing away paperwork, she's a beat cop. She goes, she helps investigators track down really serious criminals, and more often than not, either charms them and imprisons them, or just straight up murders them. And yes, I do use that word very intentionally. More often than not, she will use the person being labeled as a criminal as an excuse to kill them. Caligari is not a good person. The magic FBI. Yeah, somewhat. But I more so assign Caligari to being a desk/beat cop. But one of the more dangerous ones, because she's got a huge, huge sense of ambition. One of the things that she really wanted to do was to join the Inquisitorial, which is like the actual magic FBI. Join the Inquisitorial, you become an Inquisitor. Inquisitors basically give orders to the beat witches. the beat cops of the magical world. We're on Magic Cops? Yeah, the Witch's Apprentice series. Now, Jennifer Hawthorne really is a witch, in the sense that she is a potions she's a potions mistress. She deals heavily with the natural world, and she figures out the origins of magic. At least, she thinks she does. I have definitely gotten plans in the works for a second season. Oh, you thought the troubles were over? No, it's perfectly established at the end of the remake of this particular series that not all problems are so easily solved. It is, in a lot of ways, like real life. There are lots of loose ends, and things that have been done cannot be undone. Nathan says, "The alchemist. Yes, she synthesizes a potion, and basically has a hypothesis that it will create witches, without properly giving it field testing." Anyways, I will be right back. Thank you so very much. And, yeah, I'll be right back. I just need to handle something. I might make myself some ramen or a sandwich, in which case I'll probably be back in about 20 minutes or so. Or a little bit later. It really, really does depend. Anyways. What's this that I hear? Thank you so very much for the $10. You didn't need to send me that though. Ah! Emma! You didn't have to send me that, but thank you so very much. And thank you so very much, Nyx. Meti says, also the bread I'm eating with my coffee is a chocolate Twish Danish that my mom bought a while ago. Honestly, that sounds really nice. Oh, Emma, that reminds me. You deserve treats. Good girl. Winter says forfeit all mortal possessions to the fox. No, don't. Don't forfeit all of your possessions to me. I'll make sure that you're safe, okay? Okay. Ashiv says hello. Hello. I'm contemplating Dark Souls 3 again on stream. Contemplating. I'm not sure if I will or not. If I do decide to do a run on Dark Souls 3, I think I should do a challenge run. But again, I've never beaten the entirety of the game before. I mean, I've beaten all the way up to the Soul of Cinder, I believe, the Lord of Cinder. But I've not beaten any of the DLC bosses yet. So I don't know how that's gonna go. Oh, excuse me. So who knows? I'm not sure. There's DLC bosses? Dang, gotta get back into it. In Dark Souls 3? Yes. Yes, there are. Because Fires of Ariandel and the Ringed City are both DLCs. I've never beaten any of the other Dark Souls games. I could try a completely blind playthrough of the original Dark Souls Remastered. I could try for that. I am definitely someone that has played a majority of Elden Ring, and so it definitely does make me a little bit hesitant to continue to try Dark Souls 1, because weapons break. It is a very interesting sort of slog, especially for a new player who doesn't know where to go. Full series, no deaths run, played on bananas. On bananas? Ashiv says jolly cooperation intensifies. Huh. Ashiv says the end boss of Ashes of Ariandel is just mean, mainly because she moves like a bloodborne. Okay. You know, that actually does give me some confidence for that fight. Because I won't say that I'm cracked at Bloodborne. I am very much the opposite. I get my teeth kicked in all of the time. But the idea of a boss moving like a Bloodborne boss just gets my blood pumping. Because, well, I like Bloodborne. I like it a lot. To the point where I've honestly considered trying to, like, make an Unreal Engine 5 version of Bloodborne on PC, just so that I could play it. I mean, let's be real here. If you've got the creative power and the coding knowledge to do so, I'm pretty darn sure that you could recreate any game that you wanted and play it on your own PC. There's nothing stopping you. You are more powerful than you realize. Ashiv says, you're a Souls character. You don't move like a Bloodborne character. Yeah, precisely. Precisely. You roll, not dodge. So, instead of tap dancing, as a Bloodborne character would, you instead breakdance. The medieval breakdance versus the British river dance. Oh, that sentence alone just gave me a migraine. Oof, that made half of my blood itch. British river dance. Of all of the statements I could have made, that one is the most cursed. Furthermore, have you ever thought about doing any reaction or watch-along streams, or is that a no? Well, I consider it a slight theft of content to do that. I consider it a slight threat, a theft of content, doing a watch-along or reaction stream. Especially, like, if it's like other YouTubers. I don't want to do that. I frankly don't want to, because I would want to be interesting in my own right, for my own opinions. Fluff. Gaming is different because then I'm an active participant in the playing of the game. But watching someone's stream or someone's video on YouTube, or a TV show or a movie on YouTube, it definitely runs the risk of being just straight up theft. And I'm not really that hesitant to steal from companies. I mean, if I could get away with it right now, I would probably just put on Coraline and we can watch it together. Yeah, I own it. I own it on YouTube as a platform. And if I could get away with it right now, I would fucking stream it. Because I love the movie and I want to, like, have a wonderful time, like, watching it with y'all. But yeah, that's just something that I cannot do, because YouTube would throw a fit, and then the companies would throw a fit. So yeah, that's an example of something that I would be willing to do, but can't because I'm afraid of capitalist companies crashing down on me. A thing that I could theoretically do is react to a bunch of other YouTubers who make videos, but the one reason I don't want to do that is because I don't want to purloin from my fellow YouTuber. I don't want to purloin from my fellow creators. I don't want to be a plagiarist. And it would be borderline plagiarism to do that, to just take someone else's video and just put it alongside this mug of mine as I'm going, whoa, and ah, no matter how genuine my reactions are. It's just taking their stuff. I don't want to jack other people's stuff. Another reason is that I watched H-Bomber Guy's video on plagiarism. And let's just say I want to be interesting in my own right, instead of being interesting for jacking other people's stuff. Does that make any sense? This feels like a huge ramble and a side tangent. Emma says, that's just how Dark Souls characters roll. Slowly puts on sunglasses. Yeah! Ontari says, so I just dropped $16.5 million GTA dollars just to be able to own a cat in the game. What? Ashiv says, I've heard that FromSoft wants to port Bloodborne to PC, but the people they worked with went under, which caused some legal nonsense. And Sony owns a huge portion of Bloodborne, which is another reason why they won't port it to PC. This is just another reason why I hate capitalism as a structure and as a concept. Money as a concept is just complete and utter bullshit to me. And I honest to goodness hate that a lot of motivations, some of which are my own motivations too, are motivated by money. Seriously. A lot of the things that I do to acquiesce to companies is just so that I could get paid, so that I could pay my health insurance provider, just so that if I inevitably get hurt, I can go to a hospital and get taken care of without even more crippling debt tossed on top of me, for which they could potentially chase after me for the rest of my days, seeking to drain more and more cash from me until I'm just, like, living on the street without a penny to my name for the elements to come picking at me. It is a vulturish thing. It is a vulture. Capitalism is a vulture that purloins from and preys on the less fortunate. The marginalized, the ones cast aside. Yeah, here I go again, bitching about capitalism, because this is where most of our problems come from, not just mine. Nathan says, what? As Shiv says, Sony just hates money. Well, here's the thing, Sony makes money by making it a PlayStation exclusive. Think about it. In a lot of ways, your access to Bloodborne is heavily monitored. Medi says, Wheel, I was thinking more of like some compilation videos where you try not to laugh or sing them, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. Markiplier got in trouble after a little bit. And the thing about it is my sense of humor is broken. It is incredibly broken and fractured. I laugh at some things that other people wouldn't find silly. Well, I guess that's humor in general. Hey, Gwen. No, I do not wish to buy a $500 magical box sold by the wizard Sony in order to play Bloodborne. And yes, that's actually a joke that I took from Maxor. Emma says, on the compilation react videos and things, I know what some creators do is pause frequently to actually do a full reaction thingy. I still don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. Gwen says, welcome to Park Planet. Actually, welcome to my stream. I think that it betrays a little bit of weakness on my part as a writer and as an entertainer. If I am not able to hold your rapt attention by whatever sort of entertainment chops that I've got, then I don't want to... Gosh, it feels like my entire logic, my logic circuits got fried there for a second. Oh, that was my thought. My thought is that I think that it shows a bit of a weakness on my part to jack other people's stuff and react to it on the channel, instead of, like, trying to be interesting in my own right. Does that make sense? Ramen. Ramen is good. I love my savory noodles. And I also got a little bit of coffee here to help me stay awake. Emma says, I mean, you don't have to do content you don't want to, but I think the appeal isn't what you're watching so much as people wanting to watch you while you watch things. But yeah, YouTube can be a jerk. Yeah, personally, I think that concept is a little bit strange. Like, I'm just a normal person behind the microphone. I know that I'm a virtual, like, Foxo on the internet, and I'm really, really happy to be a virtual Foxo on the internet. But if we're gonna sit down and watch something together, it's like, how do I try to say this image that is in my brain? It's like you're watching me and my reactions to the content, as opposed to us watching it together and having our own reactions all together. And then after it's over, us having that sort of discussion. Or is that the same thing? Ashif says, I agree. However, I find reaction content lazy at best and parasitic at worst. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, Ishiv. I think that's pretty much my feelings, put succinctly and in far more eloquent a manner than I ever could. I find it lazy at best and parasitic at worst. Lazy because I am basically piggybacking off of the more interestingness of other people on the channel and my reactions to their interestingness rather than my own stuff. And parasitic because then I would be taking away views from the actual creators who made the content. Because people who then see my stream or my video on the subject will just watch this instead of watching someone else's, the person who actually made it. Which I think everyone loses out on that. I like to think that you come here for me. Does that make any... I feel... Gosh, feels like... I think I just lost the entire plot of that. I apologize. I'm sorry. Gwen says, I come for the cute Foxo. Emma says, I'm not sure. I know I like to watch people play video games, for example, but I understand the perspective for sure. Like I said, for video games, the player of the games is interacting with it. It is like watching someone solve a Rubik's Cube. It can be entertaining in its own way, and I love Rubik's Cubes. A Rubik's Cube, when simply put on a table, is an inert object, but the act of solving it, having it in the hands of someone else, it transforms the experience into a fun little puzzle. A fun little puzzle that you get to sort of look at together while I solve it. And for playing video games, I'm literally inserting a character of mine into the game's world. And thus, I'm interacting with the game world. Ashiv says, I'm here for the vibes and the occasional cooperative from soft PvP. It has been ages since I've dueled anyone in Dark Souls 3 or in Elden Ring. I'm pleasantly surprised that the PvP scene in Dark Souls 3 is still very much alive and kicking, despite the atrocious netcode. David says, hello, I'm a new viewer, but I've already binged so many of your videos. I love the ones for transfem listeners especially. Ah, the ones that are basically just for the transfem listeners? Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. Emma says Rubik's Cube stream when? When I have a camera that focuses primarily on my hands and nothing else. Which might be a while / never, depending on how I engineer things. Gwen says Rubik's Cube goes spin... Spinny Cube. Ashiv says, actually random idea, we could do some Elden Ring / DS3 Coliseum. I'm only mildly bloodthirsty. Maybe not right now, actually. I don't feel like it. But perhaps some other time. Now I'm thinking about comic dubs. Because comic dubs is, you're taking someone else's artwork, yes, and if you don't credit the artist, I think that's a horrible thing to do, but if you do, I think that you lending your voice to a comic dub brings the characters to life a little bit. Like, you are adding another layer of characterization to the comic on screen. Again, however, if you don't credit the artist who drew the comic, I think that's a dick move. Meti says, SpongeBob narrator, so 2 more hours of this stream later. Ashiv says, I just think a 6-player FFA sounds funny. FFA? What's an FFA? Free-for-all. Oh! Yeah, it can be incredibly fun. And funny. Free for yeah! That would be an FFY, though. Free for Afini? Free Terran? Don't mind if I do. Fini compact? They're actually quite tall. Ashev says, have you played either Hollow Knight or Silksong? I've played a little bit of Hollow Knight. I've not finished it, nor have I tried Silksong. Not to say that I don't find them brilliant games, it's just I've not finished them. And I don't play Hollow Knight that often. Have I dropped any frames? Am I still alive? Is anybody out there? Is there anyone at all? Getting some bad storms, gotta go back to the void. Enjoy the rest of the stream, everyone, says Rexus. Stay safe, okay? Hi. Sorry, my Google Chrome decided to completely crap out. Nati says, hey, what was that song since it's catchy? Well, the entire song list is in the description down below. All of the songs that I have on the playlist come from Dova Syndrome. Hence why they're credited down below. I'm not in my entirety a monster. Emma says, be safe in the void. Ashen One, be sure to bring me more souls. Is it not our fate to sup on death? Matisse says, have you done any accents before? Because I can't maybe do them my, like, high voice. Well, a high-pitched voice doesn't necessarily, you know, exclude you from being able to make different accents. But I really do like putting on different accents. Like this one. I think that this one is a really good accent myself. I call this one my Irideth. Mainly because, well, I primarily use it for my Irideth character. Or just parade it about. And then there's my southern accent, which I don't often put out there, but I can definitely try. Now, how are you doing, sugar? And from what I understand, most of my accent is basically like a Southern Californian accent that has been slightly modified. For example, I more often than not pronounce the T's in words. And I am very conscientious about that. Sometimes I pronounce the T's at the ends of words, and sometimes I don't. For a couple of videos, I actually tried to, like, remove that sort of, like, affectation from my voice for a few characters. Just so that they sound a little bit more natural. So, of the accents that I've demonstrated for you, which one is your favorite so far? Oh, right. And I haven't even done my British accents yet. Although this one is mostly just what I consider my posh voice. Something that is considered a little bit more high class. It's like, oh, what are you doing out in the cold, dear? Oh, come here. You must be freezing, oh. And your poor stomach is growling, oh. Let me fetch you inside. I shall set you up in a warm feather bed, and I shall have my servants look after you. And so, that one is like the more posh of them that I know. And another one is, gone, you what, mate? Don't go that way, stranger. You're likely to get mugged, knifed in the ribs. Nah, you want to go this way. Come on, mate. Director says, accents. I'm infamously bad at them IRL. Doesn't stop me from switching between the mid-sentence unconsciously, though. Sometimes I slip into my Scottish accent without realizing it. And sometimes I will consciously or unconsciously switch up my use of T's and D's being pronounced at the end of my words. And it really does disturb a lot of people because it subconsciously alerts parts of the brain that something's wrong here, and you don't think about it that often. Director says, how come it sounds like you're from the north? Lots of planets have a north. Big and metal and round. It must be completely invisible. What? No, seriously, what? Oh. Fantastic. Love The Ninth Doctor. One of the first ones I ever watched. When I was, like, really, really small. Because, like, it came back in 2005 and we watched it as it was, like, being broadcast at the time. And yeah, I confused Eccleston and Tennant for the longest time. Shiv says, I've heard people say that most inaccurate part of Bloodborne is being able to get a gun in Britain. Yeah. Plague-ridden rat! Sorry. Just thinking about the Bloodborne villagers. Matty says, anyways, I'm gonna go now since my mom is gonna take me to the mall to go buy some of the gifts on my list for Secret Santa. Alright, you stay safe out there, okay? Akiyama says, I can do accents in my head, but if I do it IRL, I think the autism masking filters it out. A Shiv person changes accent. Brain skinwalker detected. Bye, later. See you. See you! It was good to see you, Matty. Do stay safe out there. And the thing is getting back to switching up accents, once you learn an accent or two, then all you really need to do is switch up the pitch and the sort of tone of voice that you do, and it really affects the character that you play. Like, for example, the current voice that I'm doing, which is basically like what you would consider to be my bass voice. And then let's just lower the pitch. And suddenly there's a little bit more deep elements into the voice. Oh, suddenly we're a lot more dangerous, aren't we? This one definitely sounds more like what you would associate with a werewolf or with some other beast kin. Do I frighten you with my teeth, darling? Oh, do stop shivering. So yeah. Director says Eccleston did good work as the Doctor. Personally, my favorite moment is when Jackie Tyler flirts with him and he just goes, no. There's a strange man in my bedroom. Yes, there is. Anything could happen. No. Yep. Turn down the music just a hair more. Sorry about that. Oh, and my favorite song's on again. Alright, so back up here at my regular voice again. At my regular sort of pitch and resonance. Now let's put on that British accent that I was using before, the posh one. Yes, this one. And then let's lower that one. Oh dear. Suddenly it sounds like I'm a lot more evil. Like I'm plotting something, or have plotted something. And now I'm just waiting to lure you into a trap. Oh, you do know that you're walking right into my hands. But the best part is you're not going to do a blessed thing about it. You're just gonna keep walking. Good little soldier that you are. Oh, what that song's called? Gosh, trying to remember. I think it's called Spooky Pookie from Edamame 88. Director says, I'll be sure to catch the VOD later, but I did a bunch of going out and dealing with people today, so I'm going to bed early. Good night, everybody. Good night, and stay safe, okay? Thank you so very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Also, remember when I said that I was definitely switching back and forth between pronouncing the T's and D's at the ends of some words, and then purposefully not doing it in other occasions? Well, I'll be honest. A lot of the times I don't even realize when I switch between them. But how does it sound when I'm trying to sound all proper in my quote-unquote natural accent? I have had a few people straight up tell me that I sound like I'm from a European country of some kind. Like I'm someone from Ukraine or Russia, or perhaps someone from the Netherlands who just came to the United States. Not to say that it's an entirely accurate picture, but I do find that somewhat of an amusing comparison. Because I was unfortunately born and raised my entire life in the United States, which means, well, this is just how I sound, with only minor changes. Welcome back, Emma. It is so very good to see you. Welcome back, my good girl. Winter says, mine and my partner's accents are undergoing a convergence. I had someone ask me if I was Canadian. I think accents, more specifically accents that are considered a local one, like, you know, stuff like from Britain or from Russia, or are more from the southern United States or from the Midwest, for example. I think it arises because people spend a lot of time in one location and spend a lot of time talking in that location. And then language just undergoes its natural selection. You eliminate some sounds and you put emphasis on others, and the shape of the words changes slightly. They're the same words on paper, but they're just said slightly differently. I just find it fascinating. The English language itself has definitely changed quite an awful lot over the past 400-ish years. I mean, heck, it is mostly a Germanic language, English. Which means if you go back to Old English, it sounds more German than it does, well, what we would understand as English. And then you have Middle English, which still has a lot of German leanings, but it's beginning to sound a lot more towards what we would consider modern. And then you've got, you know, Modern English, New English. Basically what Shakespeare wrote in. Old English is basically Dutch? Yes. Yes, it is. One of the things that I absolutely love is the thorn, and how it's re-emerged in modern, like, circles. Like, for example, in Elden Ring, Blythe's name. It's spelled B-L-A-I-D-D, but those two D's are meant to be a thorn. A special letter that makes the th sound. Once I figured out that it's called a thorn, and that's the sort of sound it makes, it made singing in Welsh a little bit easier to understand. There's also a thing where most sounds come from Norse. Huh, the spoken words are Hungarian, the song is Welsh. I see. Uh-huh. A Shiv says English is weird language. Made of the stitched together parts of like 6 different languages. The common joke is that it knocks other languages over the head with something heavy in a sock, and then rifles through the pockets for loose grammar. That's the old joke. But a more apt description would be, it is 3 languages stacked on top of each other in a trench coat trying to sneak its way into the world theater. Bytor says, Storm and Eth are genuinely so neat. I wish English still used them. Same. Just think that it makes it sound a little... I mean, I think it makes it look a little bit more of a mystical language. And yes, I just killed the music for just a little bit because I wanted to try singing something that isn't in my native tongue, that I do believe I have a direct translation for, and I've heard it and I love the song so very much. So I wanted to sing it for you, and I wanted to get your opinion on how accurate I was to it. And I'm pretty sure that if you've played ODST, you might understand where this is from. And I think that I just clued in a bunch of people as to what the song actually is. But from what I understand, the lyrics go, Ga flundi henith orsithi ga aviriosith niveth neb an eindrachi valchadi ni drochi drive of lyranun munaqui bodai the goduni. So that's it. That's pretty much it. What did you think? Was it close? Or was it just so far off of the mark that I should be taken out behind the barn and put out of my misery? Emma says, and now I'm just throwing shade at English now, lol. Hey, we're allowed to. We're English speakers. Not inaccurate. Bytor says, it was pretty. Singing in other languages is hard. I practiced it a fair bit because I fell in love with that. It's a beautiful song. And it was definitely something that I was listening to as I was going through some of the rougher periods of my life. As in, earlier this year, when a bunch of stuff hit me sideways. I listened to it a lot. I mean, can you blame me? It is a song that is basically about cheating death. Hello. Welcome, Maxine. Welcome to the madness. Yeah, singing in languages is incredibly hard. One that I want to attempt, but never will have the audacity to try to do so, would be Butcher Vanity, because it's one of my favorite songs, and it's incredibly fast, and I can't speak the language. I can't, like, pronounce it that quickly, that accurately. At least with the one that I just did, it's slower, and I had a bit more of a grasp on it. So I'm probably just not going to try that one. Maxine says I actually love singing in different languages, Polish especially. Well, I think that's amazing. I really do think that all spoken languages are pretty. They each have their upsides. They each have their drawbacks, but to me, all of them sound delightful. Oops. I turned around to grab my ramen and bumped a fan. Honestly, I don't know why the fan is right there, because I've not turned it on for a while because it's getting colder. But sometimes it is still hot as heck in here. It's like, yeah, it gets down to the mid-40s in here. And sometimes it just feels as if it never stopped being summer. And summer here feels like hell on earth, especially if you're trying to use the public transit. Leave something out in the sun for a bit too long, you're not touching it again for a while. Oh, that's tasty. I love my ramen. I love my ramen so much. Maxine says in either temperature range, somewhere, somehow, you'll be sweating in winter and freezing in summer. Yeah. Yeah. Emma says it's got what plants crave. Are you talking about electrolytes? Yeah, it's got what plants crave. And now that I've quoted that movie, yeah, I have to acknowledge it was never supposed to be a documentary, and it became one. I'm so fluffing ashamed of our government right now, you've no idea. It is an absolute fucking joke. It's less than a joke. It is an ill-suited circus full of grotesque parodies of jokes. Sad little attempts at humor that are more sadistic and cruel than funny. Our leaders are incompetent and vindictive and spiteful and cruel. And it's only a worsening symptom of something that's been happening for years now. People have been disappeared for far longer than this. Far longer than even the first Trump administration. And we've needed it to have stopped ages ago, and it simply hasn't. And it's honest to goodness fucking depressing. It's really fucking depressing. You wake up and suddenly you wonder, well, what do I do? What do I do today? And you can't help but feel helpless and trapped. You want to go out and do something, and you can't, because you're worried about your own safety, the safety of people close to you. You're worried about being caught and prosecuted for trying to intervene and help someone. Because ICE is just the Gestapo. And the Gestapo are under the control of the Nazis. Quite literally, ICE is just another rendition of the Gestapo police force, the secret police. They are masked people who, more often than not, do not present identification, and you cannot tell them apart from just a masked person trying to kidnap you. And the thing about it is that if I keep my head down, I don't know. It sucks. It sucks living under a tyrannical, despotic rule like this. A regime. For me, the worst part is the fact that I don't know enough about it to do much about it. I join in protests. I'm one of millions who join in protests. And sure, those are incredibly fun. But I'm not that well knowledgeable. I find that I am far too ignorant to, like, make broad declarations as what we should do about this situation. All I can do is just say, hey, this sucks, this is bad. And then I just look around as if for help. I don't mean to be doom and gloom about this. Why don't we run a dialogue as to what we could potentially do? Emma says, but, on the bright side, you're a good foxo. Thanks, Emma. You're absolutely wonderful. Never forget that, okay? ramen. Antari Akayama says, "Shit, I think I just got briefly entranced by the tail." You know, as it waves back and forth, left and right, tick and talk. Winter says, "I mean, short of radical changes to our system of government, what's stopping this from happening again and again and again?" Oh, the thing about it is like all human systems, it ebbs and flows. It is like water in that respect. It is a slow-moving liquid. A very slow-moving liquid. You know, the waves push in towards the shore and then they recede back out to sea. Emma says, "But networking and mutual aid are good." Yes. Something that I do consider to be like an incredibly radical approach is simply to, build a network between you and the community around you. And to just put yourself out there as a resource. Me and Akira are doing what we can to create a bit of a food stockpile of sorts. A stockpile of canned foods and frozen stuff. As well as, you know, dried stuff. Stuff that keeps for a while. That we can cook. And this helps in case things get way too expensive and then there are food shortages. Another thing that we do is we share the food that we have. We try not to let any of it go to waste. Something that I try to do is I try not to let the food that we have go to waste. Gone are the days where I can choose to be a picky eater. You gotta take what you can get. But yeah, we've been reaching out to different parts of the community that we have, and we've been sharing what food comes in. We don't give everything away. We still need to eat, obviously, but we help each other. And I'm pretty sure that with a little bit more effort, I'm pretty sure that I could probably talk to the different people around me in this apartment complex and just get everyone's thoughts about the current situation and see if we could brainstorm a way of helping each other in times of need or distress to build a rapport. I'm learning some software skills. I'm learning how to code in C++, which is very slow going, but I really do hope that I'm able to write my own programs within a few months to a year. I hope to also get some more in-depth knowledge on how to engineer, on engineering. Basically trying to resume in what free content there is out there. Basically trying my best to learn outside of school again. As Chris Bowden once said, slow, steady, positive change. It doesn't, big grand things. You don't have to do big grand things every single day. You just need to do small things. Small things that slowly increment up to big things. Putting the pieces together. Because if the world ends, well, people are still gonna need houses. And wouldn't it be nice to be the one that knows how to build them and make sure that they have electricity? And who knows? Might even have eventually a working computer or two. Emma says, interesting. The comment about defying ICE got redacted by YouTube, I think. Oh yes, defy ICE. At every opportunity. They are a Nazi police force. And they are cowards to boot. Seriously, why do they cover their face, if not for the fact that they're ashamed? And for the fact that if the regime falls, they want to be able to blend back into society again. They want to be regarded as heroes, but they know they're not. They know that what they are doing is wrong, and that if they are found out, they will be ostracized. Oh, completely understandable, Antari Akiyama. It's okay. Winter says they cover their face because they know what they're doing is a crime. Yes. Yes. They are doing a crime. But it's also worse than that. They really do want to blend back into society at some point. Because everyone knows that this is a temporary thing. Nothing is a permanent measure here. Dictatorships fall, whether due to the passage of time or through short bursts of really concentrated effort. The government that was before is gone. What remains is wearing its corpse as a mask. Ghoulish as that is, that's quite literally what we're witnessing here. What was before is a rotting corpse that is being worn as a sort of skin suit by this current regime. We've got a whole mess of issues. A whole mess of issues. And from what I understand, from what I remember and what I recall, take with grains of salt, people. Listen close. Take with grain of salt. Do your own research. Make sure that I am held accountable for what I say here. Okay? Always. Always, 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 always. I am no exception. But from what I remember, governments typically will not revert to their prior state after elections. It remains in a destroyed state, and it will definitely fall into one of 4 different categories. 1, the system remains basically under a new leadership. So basically a dictatorship still, just with a more stable leader. Others are the fragmenting of countries. You know, just the United States fragmenting into a bunch of different fiefdoms, little warring factions, if you will, which is incredibly dire to think about. And the last one to my remembrance is to essentially forge a new democracy, which is incredibly hard and requires focused effort on a large group of people to do so. And we've kind of seen from, like, a lot... scratch that. I don't know where I was going with that last bit right there. Emma says yes. Protect your friends and neighbors. Emma says comes back to skinwalkers. Kind of. Let's be honest here. The country that we live in has always operated as not necessarily hostile to its citizens all of the time, but it definitely has disregarded its citizens from the very beginning. Sure, it was a grand experiment, but it was also a grand experiment that had guardrails. And those quote-unquote guardrails was the Electoral College. From what I remember, 5 times the popular vote lost because the Electoral College decided to vote the other way. And every single time the Electoral College voted the other way, the country basically fragmented a little bit more. From what I remember, what I recall. Ouch. I accidentally cut myself to the quick. Youch, that's gonna hurt. Winter says, chat, should I listen to the demons and drop way too much money on Magic the Gathering? I say, hold on to your cash for now. Mainly because things are about to get really, really expensive, and while you shouldn't take me for financial advice, I do think that we should be saving what capital we've got. Food is going to become expensive, really expensive, and so will healthcare premiums. The far right have definitely done a good job in gutting social welfare programs such as food stamps and, gosh, what was the other one? It was Medicaid, I believe. Sonic says, that's humanity, putting the rich over the rest and always raising prices. No, that's not all we are. From what I understand, humanity does what it can to help each other where they can. We've also just fell into a bit of a sedentary pit. And we've also bought into this big... I want to call it a lie, because I sincerely don't believe that humanity is that self-centered and that cruel. I believe that we have the capacity to do better. And that with a little bit of effort, and a little bit of time, and a lot of patience, that we could really make a better place. And to not let the rich get away with it. We've said for a long, long time, well, I mean, I personally have said for a long, long time that I don't believe that billionaires should exist. I don't believe that millionaires should exist. I believe that something has fundamentally gone horribly, horribly wrong for this to be a thing that is happening. Emma says, I mean, putting the people first is also humanity. The whole everybody's innately selfish thing is an idea pushed by capitalists because it provides justification to keep propping up capitalism. Precisely, Emma. Precisely. Precisely. You said it far more eloquently than I ever could. Emma says humanity also came up with mutual aid and all. Yes, we also came up with concepts such as social security and Medicaid and food stamps to help the less fortunate. To help the marginalized. And what is it that rich capitalists have been doing ever since the founding of those programs? They have been pushing the narrative that it is something that is taking from you in order to give to someone quote-unquote less deserving. They frame socialism as being mere theft, while failing to understand that they are stealing from their workforce. Sonic says, that is true. I sometimes need a reminder they're still good people. I dare say a good majority of people are good people. I do think that there are some legitimately bad actors out there. I do believe that there are legitimately people out there with malignant motives. People who will do bad things, no matter what you tell them. And I believe that we should have a system in place to deal with people like that. But dealing with people like that should not be killing them. It should not be torturing them. It should be making sure that they are not able to harm other people. And that includes rich sociopathic billionaires who believe that the poor deserve to suffer because they're poor. Emma says, yep, the lie that humanity is all just selfishness gives the rich justification to insist that a system that's only been around for like a few hundred years is the only one that's ever worked. Precisely. And no matter how sweetly it beckons and calls, a lie will remain a lie. Bytor says, caring is such an innately human thing to do that other hominids did that. Neanderthals also cared for their sick and dying and fed those who couldn't feed themselves. Yes, we found fossil skulls that are old. You know, the people died when they were like in their 80s or so, but they had no teeth and didn't have teeth for presumably decades. And it was simply because they were being helped by others. People fed them. People took care of them. And such is the same of our ancestors. Other Homo sapiens whose fossils we've discovered. Caring and empathy are as much naturally human as our capacity to be cruel. We cannot forget that survival of the fittest does not necessarily mean physical strength of a single individual. Survival of the fittest is simply what ensures the survival of a population such that it is able to reproduce and pass down its genetic line. And what is the system that has risen out of natural selection for humanity? It is empathy. It is our capacity to care for others. Because together we can overcome pretty much anything. A group of humans can move a boulder that a single one by themselves cannot move. A group of humans together can put another human on the surface of the moon. A group of humans working together can generate power for the entirety of a country. A group of humans working together can make sure that a community is fed and that children do not go to sleep starving. We are naturally empathetic and kind creatures at heart. It's high time we remember that. We are capable of so much good. So no, you don't have to be entirely self-sacrificing. You don't need that. You can have a limited capacity for self-centeredness, and that's fine. Because you do need to make sure that you survive as well. And I encourage that. Please make sure that you stay safe, that you stay alive. Because if you aren't staying alive out there, then it means that you won't be able to help anyone else when it's your time to. There will come a time where someone will need your help. And it is my firm belief that you need to make sure that you're prepared for that moment. Things will go wrong, rocks will fall, people will get hurt. I think it's important to make sure that we are okay and prepared for that moment. To prepare with knowledge, with experience, so that when the boulders fall, we are able to clear away the rubble. That there are people on standby who know medicine. That there are people who are on standby who know how to grow food, who can feed the hungry. There are people on standby that will simply sit down with someone whose thoughts have been darkened for so long and saying, "Don't you dare go hollow." Because our silly distractions are just as much necessary as the serious stuff. Does that make any sense? I think that is what we really need to focus on. It's just the gaining of the knowledge, the limited capacity of self-centeredness, and the willingness to help. Prepare thyself. Prepare thyself to be the hands that work. But I do believe that I've been staying a little overlong. Typically I only stream for about 2 hours these days. I'm pushing 3. But I think that it was a really good stream today. Thank you so very much for stopping by, okay? Thank you for listening to my rambling and for my unique perspectives on things. Remember, the grains of salt are necessary. My words are not the end-all be-all. Make sure that you rely on your own intelligence, your own research. But anyways, I think that will be all for me today. Thank you for stopping by, and I do hope to see you next week. I know I should have been streaming yesterday. I forgot. I forgot. But I hope to be back in a lot more often. Make sure that you get some good water into your system, and make sure that you get some good food as well. Take care. Think of me sometime while you're out there. See you next time.